Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of It Starts With You. I'm the host, Anna Yoo, here with Payam Safa, founder of the Light DAO community. We were interested in learning more about how he had met his fiancée, Hannah Kim, and asked our Light DAO leader the first ever release story of how they met and how they continue to keep both the Light DAO community as well as their love for each other strong. Let's get started. So, Payam, tell me a little bit about Light DAO. Maybe like the community building side?
Yeah, there's really two definitions of Tao, the second part of Tao. In Eastern philosophy, some of you may have know of the yin and the yang symbol. That's light and dark and duality as one, which is Tao. And in technology words, it stands for a decentralized autonomous organization. So DAO, DAO. And the community itself is a global community of conscious investors and entrepreneurs. Our mission is to raise the levels of dignity for humanity so every single human feels the value of their own self-worth.
Oh, wow.
And raising the vibrational frequency of the planet, expanding the collective consciousness into levels of light, love, and unity. So that's our mission. And people ask me all the time, what does conscious mean? We're conscious now, we're conscious beings, we're conscious creatures. The way I really define that word in the context of Light DAO is individuals who are heart-led, aligned in their own values, have a sense of purpose, care about their own personal journey of growth and their environment around them, and do business as a force for good to be a positive impact. Again, for themselves, their world around them, and the community at large. So we're bringing together these leaders, these investors, and these entrepreneurs that care about these values of doing good and being good. And we host gatherings regularly in cities around the world. Our signature experience is a salon, where that word is from the French Renaissance, where enlightened leaders would come together to deepen relationships, build values-aligned relationships, and I know we'll talk a little more about relationships later, and share meaningful ideas, have intellectually stimulating conversation, and get to know each other and invest and support one another through these salon-style gatherings.
So speaking of relationship, which you just brought up, right? I noticed on your Instagram that you were recently engaged. So tell me a little bit more about like how you guys met and what your hobbies are. I would want to know a little bit more, maybe for myself or other people watching.
Yeah, we have an interesting story. So in 2020, it was the pandemic. I was living in New York. My fiancée, Hannah, living in LA, and I was on Hinge, and I changed my location to LA a week before I was flying to LA. And interestingly, just a couple weeks before that, she was completely closed off to the concept of meeting somebody who's not within a 20-mile radius of her in LA.
Makes total sense.
And so that's the kind of just the initial, we matched, we met. And actually, before we even met in person, we did a video call. This is November of 2020. Everything's closed down. Nothing's open. No restaurants, bars. And video dates started to become popular. It might still be a good way to filter who might be a good fit for meeting in person, because our time is very valuable. And even a simple coffee date could spend time in getting ready, showering, driving to the place, picking her up potentially. So
Your fiance is very smart.
So putting that aside, so we matched, we did a video date, and then I immediately recalled her. I had this memory, I think I know this girl. And after that video date, I realized that I do actually have a distinct memory where we did meet. And it happened that 10 years earlier, I went to a fundraiser that was hosted by a girl that I had used to date, which ended up being a woman that she worked for. So I had met her 10 years earlier at this fundraising function. And I had even received emails from her because when she worked with that woman, some of the email campaigns would go out from her email address.
Oh my God.
But when I met her at the time, she had a boyfriend, so nothing happened. She was just this distinct memory of a girl that I thought was cute.
Oh my God.
Fast forward to 2020, we meet in person, and our first date was a hike because we couldn't even go to a bar or a restaurant or anything like that I mentioned. So I picked her up, we grabbed a coffee, we went to, I think it was a Runyon or Fryman Park trail up in the kind of Hollywood Hills area. And one of the first conversations that we had was around what we look for in relationship. And I told her, when I think about who I want to connect with, I think about kind of 4 key pillars that are important for myself and for people that I want to do life with. And that's mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. And that to me is framework. I'm a computer science guy, I'm an electrical engineer, so I'm a systems thinker. I like putting things into frameworks and systems. The reason why these 4 things are important to me and have continued to resonate in conversation when we talk about relationship is because these are the things that are really important in how we're living a holistic life, right? So when I say mental, it's our mindset, it's our intellectual capability. And then within that, I think about how I want, what I care about and what I value, and therefore what I would want somebody else to value. Love mindset, a growth mindset, a global mindset. These are some of the core, and then of course there's the intellectual. We want to be on the same mental wavelength and having intellectually stimulating conversations, ideas, topics of interest. So broadly, that's the mental domain. And then emotional is how we feel through our heart. And a lot of people forget about how important that is. The person's emotional intelligence, right? Which comprises of a handful of things. It's understanding how you think about having a healthy sense of self. Who are you? How do you feel? Can you be? Also, how you manage emotion. It's inevitable that things are going to go wrong in life. Things always happen. There's sad days, there's happy days, there's shitty days, there's good days. There's all these types of days. And what I care about is knowing that inevitably things will go wrong and bad things are going to happen and things are going to go sour and there's a family member might die, whatever it might be, is how does that person manage their emotions?
Yeah.
How do they understand to deal with hard emotional things? So I put all of that in the emotional bucket. And then there's physical.
Yeah.
Okay? And physical is, of course, the typical thing that we think about is, am I physically attracted to that person? Obviously, that's important for people. For men, it's probably usually more important than women, from what I hear. But still, like, you need to be that person's type physically.
Yeah.
For Hannah, I know she cares a lot about smell, which you can put into this kind of physical domain. It's really how attracted are you to this person?
I still think it's amazing that you knew her before and then you remembered this. That's like fate.
Yeah.
That's just so amazing. That's so wholesome.
Yeah, on this kind of topic, which actually is a good segue to the 4th, which is what I call spiritual or energy. It's like the factors that are not covered in these 3 other ones, physical, mental, and emotional. I call that spiritual or energy. It's the wild card. It's the thing that can't be described. It's how energetically connected you might feel, the butterfly feeling, or also how you see your vision in life and how you might be connected to that person in your belief system. So all of these things are in the spiritual, and I think it's also important on how, for example, we value time. And we can talk about all these things, but from like a fate standpoint, part of my philosophy is we're all these like light beings that are just crisscrossing paths and lives through each other, and Then there's like how many times you'll intersect with someone at different random times. You're like, I know that person or whatever it might be. And life just brings these things up to you. And there's also a level of awareness that this is actually something that's happening. And being in that state of kind of mindset and level of awareness to know, okay, you know what, life is actually showing me this thing.
Yeah.
And am I awake and am I aware, am I conscious
Yeah.
that this is something that's coming up? And when it's coming up, knowing how to engage with that thing. Yeah, so we had that kind of history, and it took 4 years in our relationship to get to the point where I actually proposed and took it to the next level. And we were long distance because I did end up, so I was in LA, I was spending a lot of time in LA, and then I went back to New York.
I almost asked why it took so long, but now I understand why.
Yeah, and frankly, I'm the kind of person, this is a personal thing, I don't buy into the whole, let's just like really quickly make this life decision. If there's one decision, it's the most important decision, it's who we're partnering in life with. And that doesn't matter if it's romantic or business or any other type of partnership that we might have.
Yeah.
Who we partner with in life, in all the different things that we partner with, those are the most important people that we should take time to understand what our values are, how aligned are we, how we want to live our life, what's the vision, what are the kinds of things we want to invest in, how do we want to spend our time, what kinds of travels do we enjoy, do we want children, all these various things that are super important in longevity. I want to know as much information as possible to make an informed decision on, is this the right person to spend the rest of my life with and build a family with? And there's no right or wrong answer, but my just general back of the envelope kind of way of thinking about this is spend a bare minimum of a year getting to know that person in all types of environments, traveling, showing them to your friends, going on random excursions, adventures. Again, seeing how that person is able to manage themselves in different environments. Because again, things are going to go wrong. How does that person deal with the hard conversation? And that communication is really critical. Being able to talk about anything and everything. And if it's in the early days, be honest, like I'm still exploring. I might be wanting to go on other dates. I'm not ready to be exclusively dating. Whatever those thoughts are, the more upfront you are with communicating where you are as a person, where you are in finding yourself, what interests you, great. And maybe you're at the same place. Maybe you're both thinking those same things and you can both be super honest and upfront that you're both just having fun and enjoying and you love each other and you're exploring, but maybe you're not ready to be like, I'm ready to have a family and start having kids tomorrow. And that's totally okay.
No, I agree with you that sometimes it may take longer because I myself was engaged at one point and was in a relationship with that guy for like almost 3 years to him, but I had to break it off because I couldn't imagine myself having kids with him.
Yeah, and I think that's when you have that, you couldn't imagine it. I'm guessing the reason why you couldn't imagine having those kids is because there's a fundamental misalignment, right? And understanding why that misalignment is a thing is important because that is an awareness of you understanding yourself and knowing yourself and what you value, and where there's a value misalignment or values misalignment with that other person. Which is why nowadays I actually recommend everybody to do a values exercise. Just like we might do a Myers-Briggs MBTI assessment or a Strengths Finders assessment or these Enneagram. There's all these different like personality assessments and tests that we can take. And one of those is a values assessment, which
What is that?
which is really just, so before even saying what it is, there's understanding that we're human being, right? And this human being that we are is a composition of our values. You could think about trust, honesty, loyalty, integrity, passion, curiosity, adventure, optimism, studying, philosophy. There's all these different values, right? And this being, this human being that we are, is composed of these values. Your top 5 values, my top 5 values, that's what makes our being unique. So your being is composed of your values. And knowing those top 5 values is really knowing yourself. And
is there like a website where you take?
yeah, there's many different places that you can go, and I can share it with the audience and you
Yeah.
afterwards to just take an assessment of
Yeah.
what are my top 5 or 10 values. And that's just an assignment. You can look at a list of 100 values and say, what are my top 50? What are my top 20? What are my top 10? And you want to boil it down to a top 5,
Yeah.
because you can say, oh, I'm all of them. Yeah, we all we all value all of these values.
Yeah.
But what you hold closest to your heart, the top 5, are the ones that are going to be the things that you should focus, the things that maybe become part of what you're passionate about. They become the things that end up being how you find purpose in who you are and what you're doing and what you're being in this world. So that's a really critical element of finding the relationship with self before we're even ready to really dive deeper into relationship with others.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, I feel like sometimes it's easier to try to give advice to others when we're not completely healed ourselves, but it's easy to forget that the focus should be on ourselves and trying to heal ourselves first and focus on that.
For sure.
Yeah.
And without getting religious or anything, the word for God, because I'm Persian, so I come from an Iranian heritage. My family immigrated from Iran to the US in the 70s. And I grew up completely agnostic, not religious or anything, and I'm still not. But I grew up with that kind of philosophy. And just recently I found out that the word God in Farsi is Khoda. It's like God, but the G is a Kh, and then it's an A at the end, so it's Gada, but Khoda. That's how it's pronounced. And in Farsi, in that language, the first part of that word, Khod, is self. It's literally the word self. And Da is knowledge. So the literal meaning of the word God in Farsi is knowing self.
Wow, that's interesting.
I actually find this super aligned
Yeah.
in my kind of part of my philosophy,
Yeah.
because that is really everything.
Yeah.
When you really know yourself, then you know what is, or
Yeah,
what
like-
this concept of God is, that, you know, is the one that we're all connected with,
What you
we're the one
want.
that we all are,
Yeah.
and who we are and what we want.
Yeah.
And that's really the source of our own truth, our own purpose, is knowing self.
Yeah.
Which is, then how do you know yourself? And then you could do values assessments.
Yeah.
So this is part of the exercise. And tangentially to that, which is part of these exercises that we could do to get to know ourselves and how we value ourselves and value that relationship with self, is another thing that I found very helpful in finding that is a daily journaling practice. I started with this journal, it's called the 5-minute journal, but really the 2 main prompts that are the most important are gratitude and affirmations, which are I am statements. So every day, or as close to every day as possible, literally writing out gratitude prompts. I am grateful for XYZ. And the affirmation or I am prompts or I am ... So I started this practice as well.
So I have a question about, so like when you write I am blah blah blah, do you put it in future tense? I am going to be like blah blah blah, or is it like a present tense?
The truth is, there's always only now, but I don't want to get too philosophical for this conversation right now. What we say, the words are very powerful.
Yeah.
And to answer your question directly, you want to say it in the present tense.
Okay.
And the reason why is because as you say these words, in psychology, there's scaffolding.
Okay.
There's the mental bridge from where you are to where you want to be.
Okay.
So, for example, let's say you're trying to learn Chinese.
Okay.
Instead of saying, I am going to learn Chinese, right?
Oh, that makes sense.
You say, I know Chinese. Even though you might not know it,
Yeah.
you want to say it because that gives you the confidence to be that faster. So saying it in that present tense, so I am, and it doesn't need to be anything like super far out there.
President of the United States.
Yeah, and the more you say those in the present tense, the more you're becoming that, right? So that's it. So it's really keeping it simple and as tangible as possible for yourself, because you could say I'm an astronaut and you have no desire to actually be. So also being real and authentic with yourself.
Yeah.
Authenticity is important.
Yeah.
So being authentic, being real,
Yeah.
and tangible and present tense, and knowing that there's always this mental model or bridge of going from where you are to where you want to be.
Yeah.
And the more you're writing the affirmation in the present of that being, of that future self, the more you're stepping into the power of that written word. And that's what you're doing. You're stepping into the power of your word.
That's interesting.
So you're giving the direction and you're flowing in that direction as if it's present.
Interesting.
So these are all exercises that we can do to better have a sense of relationship with ourselves and relationship with other people. Again, best friends, romantic, platonic, male, female, it doesn't matter. It's just relationship. And that relationship always starts with self or khoda.
We learned a new word today. Thank you, Payam. Thanks
Yeah.
for joining us.
Yeah.
And as always, it starts with you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, you can support our cause by going to buymeacoffee.com/Anna Yoo. That's YOO. More support means more episodes. The link is in the episode description. Also, don't forget to visit our Instagram page for exclusive behind-the-scenes content at It Starts With You. And remember, it starts with you.